What is up, everybody? I'm excited about today's podcast episode. I bring on a special guest, Alberto Ortigão. He has a PhD in Geotechnical Engineering. He is worked internationally. He has his PN. He has 50 years of experience. He has written papers on a variety of geotechnical engineering topics, really distinguished in the areas in, and he teaches as well. But he, later in his career, has wanted to earn his PE, working in the United States as a consultant. There's tons of opportunities here, and he discusses this in today's episode. I think this episode is fascinating because it really doesn't matter when you get your PE. If it's later in your career, if it's for self-accomplishment, then that is fantastic. If it's earlier in your career because you want to grow your career, also fantastic. And Alberto has taken his PE exam much later in his career. He's got 50 years of experience. He's on the tail end of things. So I really wanted to understand why he wanted to get his PE, why he wanted those initials, and the journey he took to get there. He is a student of our course, the Ultimate Civil PE Review Program, and was able to pass his Geotechnical PE exam, and he has shared the great news with me and many others, and it's just fantastic. So I think his journey is fascinating. I'm sure you will find it fascinating, and within that journey, you're going to find a lot of tips and tricks to help you on your own journey to pass your exam if you're in the boat of doing that, or maybe you're later in your career, you haven't earned it and you want to still do it. There's still hope to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and shut up. I'll get to our interview with Alberto. If you have the need to get help on your journey to become a professional engineer, definitely check us out at civilengineeringacademy.com. You'll find our FE courses there, our PE courses, as well as exams that we have for sale there to help you on this journey. And if you need a community of like-minded people in the same boat, just let us know. We'll get you hooked up with that. So without further ado, let me get to this interview with Alberto. You're really going to enjoy this. We'll see you in a minute. Before we actually dive into today's episode, I have some exciting news to share with you to start out this new year the best possible way. We're going to be running this entire month a sale to help make sure you kick all these NCEES exams in the butt once and for all and get them all passed. And that is that throughout this month, we're going to be offering 20% off any of our courses that we offer. So that means FE, PE, CFM review courses that we have out there for you. So whatever exam is standing in the way of you actually getting licensed and leveling up your career as well as your income, we're going to be here to help you knock this thing. So to take advantage of this, go check out links in our description for your particular course, or go check out civilengineeringacademy.com and use the discount code New Year Sell at checkout. The discount will automatically be applied to any access option that you choose, whatever works for you. It is simple as that. So again, just click on the course link that applies to what you're looking for and use that discount code New Year Sell at checkout and get 20% off. So it's exciting news. Let's get back to the episode. Thanks for tuning in. Let's make this a great new year and a boost to your career and your life. So with that, we'll see you in a minute. All right, Alberto, we are live and rocking and rolling. Thank you for joining me today on the Civil Engineering Academy podcast. I appreciate you doing this with me.
My pleasure.
You have a very unique story. You found Civil Engineering Academy to help you pass your PE exam and help you on this journey. But I wanted to have you jump on and share your own experience. So I was curious if you could maybe start out and share your own journey into how you got into the geotechnical engineering world.
Well, first of all, I decided to be a civil engineer when I was 10 years old because I'm a son and a grandson of civil engineers, but they were contractors. So I jumped into the school of civil engineering without any doubt. But when I was in the last year, the fifth year of the school, I decided to take geotechnics as a specialization. And I did a master's degree. I did a PhD later on. I worked a few years for the Road Research Laboratory, and my first research was on embankment of soft soils. We did real scale embankments and tri-embankments, and that was a fantastic time. Later on, I joined the School of Engineering as an assistant professor in 1978. Then I jumped into becoming an associate professor later on. I had the opportunity to work abroad on research projects and also consulting. I I spent time in Britain. That was my first work abroad. Then at the building research establishment, I did a lot of work on offshore foundations. That was a fantastic time, like heavens. Later on, in 1991, 92, I worked as a visiting professor to University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada. And then I did another postdoctoral as a visiting professor to the City University of Hong Kong, 1997, 98. I did a lot of work on slopes, and that was took me to write a book on slope stabilization, which came up in 2004. And also later on, I spent some time in Australia, giving some lecture on slopes. That was, I think, 2002, 2003. That was my last. And I have been working in many countries, as you see. I did a lot of work for contractors, consulting work in many South American countries. At the moment, I did work in Far East in Malaysia, Hong Kong, what else? In South America, all South American countries. And so that's my experience. And I became a few years ago a father and a grandfather of American citizens. That's why they pulled me out to the United States as well. So I spent the time there and in Brazil as well. So I have family there. Yeah, that's it.
So, Alberto, where are you today? And are you?
Yeah, I'm in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I came here to spend Christmas with part of the family that are still here in Rio. Okay.
And are you still working?
All the time. I do three things in my life, and these are things that I can do, and I don't know to do anything else. What I do, I'm a swimmer, I'm a dancer, and I'm a geotechnical engineer. And I don't see any possibility of doing anything else rather than what I actually do today. This makes me feel alive. Also, something which I like very much. I have over 50 years of experience, geotechnical experience. And then what I do today, most of the time, I do mentoring to young engineers. I guided them through how to solve a problem, etc., how to do the calculation, how to get the parameters. I have a lot of experience in all that. And the only area I don't have a lot of experience is seismic engineering. Apart from there, I've done tunneling, dams, tailings dams, lots of foundation excavations, and embankments of soils. A lot of things.
You've got a vast amount of experience.
Yeah,
and you have a lot of initials after your name too. And so I'm curious, you wanted to earn your professional engineering, your PE license in the United States. What was the reason for doing that at such a later period in your career?
Yeah, because first of all, I have the license to live in America because of my relation, because of my family. And I think America offers a wide range of opportunities to do consulting, to do analysis, and this is something I would be able to contribute. I did a lot of work in the past, and I think I could work with young engineers to let them know which way to solve this and that problem. So this is what I think I could do, and that's why I'm looking forward to having not only the PE in North Carolina, but perhaps in other states on the east side where my son lives.
That's perfect. So I'm curious, could you take me through your study journey to pass the PE exam? With so much experience, you found us, Civil Engineering Academy, but what was that study journey for you, and what did it look like?
I would say that was very hard. First of all, attending the course was very easy. Okay, what problems I had when I started, imperial units. They are very difficult for me. Imperial units they are still a nightmare. I have to convert, and the other problem is the soil properties. I have all of them. You know, if I look at a borehole, I could assign soil properties very easily, okay? Just because I have a lot of experience without making any calculation. And I have these numbers in my mind.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to translate to a different system of units. So I have those numbers, and I could decide that I only use SI. And then I have to translate. That's what I do.
Ah. Yeah, that can be a nightmare. It's interesting though because the NCEES says in their specifications that they use both sets of units. But I think in reality, when you go and take the test, you probably find that most units are that US based unit.
Yeah, you're right. I think 8% were imperial units. That's very different from me. I had to, but something I learned. I know that unit weight of water is 62.4. That's
Good job. Have that memorized. Very good. Well, I'm curious. How did you feel like Civil Engineering Academy helped to contribute in your success to passing your PE? I know we communicated a lot at the beginning, but I'm just curious your opinion.
No, it was absolutely very important. I wouldn't pass the test if I didn't have if I didn't take the course, and also I did a lot of exercise at home. To do those exercises, I can confess it was hard. Attending the lecture was very easy. Doing the exercise was hard, and what happens that this is something which I didn't like in the test. I think the practice of civil engineering is completely detached from the theory that's required. I give you an example. So, some of the concepts are very important, are very good, but others are very detached. I give you an example. For instance, we never calculate a diaphragm wall in a supportive excavation or sheet pile using those formulas that have been developed in America some 50 years ago or 60 years ago. I learned those formulas in school, but that was 55 years ago. Okay, so this is completely detached from reality. On the other hand, the concepts, the theoretical questions, I think they are valid. And in my view, I think the test should concentrate on that. The other thing which I think is missing in the test is how do we find parameters? Most of the exercise, the parameters are given. And this is not the challenge for the geotechnical engineer. The most difficult part is to get the parameters and, have the sensibility to know whether or not those parameters are right. Okay, this is not part of the test, which I should, in my view, this is the most important one.
Yeah, I recall as you were going through the course, you left a lot of comments going through there about almost like outdated material. And so but it was almost like, well, it may be outdated, and yes, that's the case, but this is what the NCEES tests on. This is what the specification is. And so it's really tough to balance, like maybe the NCEES needs to get up to speed on what modern practices may be as applicable to the geotechnical world or any of the other disciplines. But it was interesting to read your feedback and say, this is not how it's done in the field. These are equations that we don't use anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, well, wow, this is neat. I just think you have a very unique perspective of getting this PE license later in your career. What advice would you give to someone that's maybe in the same boat that is maybe they've struggled to get it, maybe they haven't wanted it. I don't know what the case may be, but now they want it. They're later in their career. What advice would you give to them?
Well, to do what I did was a big challenge. It would be very easy if I just came out of school to do all the formula, to do the fundamentals of engineering, which is impossible for me to do that test. But geotechnics, with the practice and with the course, it was okay. I made it, and I'm very happy to have made that. And I think it's hard. It was hard for me because I've been out of school for a long time. My PhD was 43 years ago.
Yeah, most of you wait 4 years. You 43 years. So that's
43 years ago, I had my PhD. And, in those days, we used a lot of those equations. And I made, it was my first finite element analysis. It took me 3 months to carry out a finite element analysis in Bankman or soft click. Today, I would do that in 1 day.
oh my gosh. Technology has changed.
Absolutely.
Well,
But
neat.
the fundamentals, the theory, the background is the same. So that's why I think it's a pity that the NCEES hasn't changed too much. In my view, there are lots of things that are very important for the geotechnical engineering, but they like to stick to equations.
Yeah.
And we don't
Yep.
use that anymore.
Very true. Well, was there any unexpected challenges that you faced on the PE exam that
Yes.
maybe took you off guard?
Yes, geophysics. Okay, because I'm a user of geophysics, and I never learned how to do calculation of seismic or electroresistivity, thing like that. So I always had a geophysicist helping me to do the analysis. Okay, and perhaps I think in your course you should include a model on geophysics, seismic analysis, electroresistivity, and the last one there was a question which we do the test. We have the equipment to do cross-hole on pipes, on board pipes, and still the question I didn't know how to answer. Okay, but I don't remember which question was. I don't remember the question. But I think these three should be in a model for
Oh, for sure. I think that's great feedback to have too. So
Mhm.
we'll make sure we review that. How did you take and challenge practice exams, and do you feel like taking those help prepare you for the real exam?
Yes, to take if I by having your course, CA course, that was fundamental for me to get the exam. But I don't think the exam helped me anything in my practice. Okay, because the exam is very basic, knowledge. Okay, perhaps it would help a very young engineer with 5 years of practice or something like that. But for me, I have seen so much.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm curious your opinion, Alberto. The NCES had their biggest change in the specifications that they've had for a long time in April of 2024. They removed the breadth section and they made everybody's individual discipline the entire exam. So Geotech was a full exam for Geotech only. Do you feel like that was a good thing that they did it that way? Do you feel like engineers are more specialized, or what's your opinion about that?
No, it was for me. It was great that it happened just when I needed. Made the test much easier for me. The breadth questions they were very difficult for me to because transport, geometrical design of roads or pavements, something I don't deal with that, and I have dealt with that for 55 years. I only deal with geotechnical engineering. So it was me. It was a very good move.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of students get excited when the spec change happened because now they didn't feel like they needed to know topics that they just didn't need to really know for their career. So one of the things I've noticed, and people kind of get discouraged to go the geotech route, is because the pass rates for passing geotech are relatively low compared to other exams. What advice or what piece of encouragement would you give to somebody to take the geotechnical exam?
Well, to take the course, first of all, I think your course is absolutely necessary for someone to pass that. But and also to include a little bit more on site investigation, especially geophysics. Okay, site investigation, for instance, I think I remember that you talked about SPT, you talked about CPT. The ASTM standard for vein testing, something that I published in 1985, showing that the specs were wrong. And I have I did a lot of research on vein testing in the past, and and I published a paper in an ASTM conference in, I think, 1985 in Tampa, showing that the specs, the standard was wrong, but still there.
The vein shear test.
Issue
Yeah.
test.
Interesting.
ASTM standard is wrong. I can talk about that later on, but
Another thing, the NCEES needs to update then.
Yeah,
it is. That's unfortunate. Well, that's interesting that you noticed that.
I send you this paper, okay? That was published in 1985.
That's great. What would you say to younger engineers to go into the geotech route? They have a decision to make when they start their career, and they can go into each of these other disciplines within civil engineering. But what advice would you give, or what motivation would you give to explore the geotechnical world? How has it benefited you in your life?
Well, I think all disciplines. In my school, I remember they offered geotech, structural, transport engineering, construction, and hydraulics. Okay, and I just tossed a coin up and decided about geotech. As a matter of fact, I like all of them. Okay, it was a difficult decision for me to go into geotechs. Something which I would recommend someone just coming to become a geotechnical engineer. First of all, you should take a minimum would be an MSc in geotechnical engineering. This is very, very important, because then you go in a little bit more depth into lots of subjects which are necessary. I did this, which is the minimum, and I also did a PhD with these trial embankments, which were, I was supported by the Road Research Laboratory. They were paying me for the research. They paid for the embankment. They paid for the instrumentation. So it was heavens in those days. Not very easy to find it today. So much sponsorship, but for me it was a great opportunity, which I followed, and that's what took me to become a geotechnical engineer. And I think in practice there are many opportunities of work. American U.S. market is huge. Lots of opportunities everywhere for geotechnical engineers.
Huge need, that is for sure.
Yeah.
And I feel like at a college level, I feel like there's less enrollment in the civil engineering world, and hopefully that changes. But it's an exciting field to be in. I'm curious, could you walk us through the day that you got your results from passing? What was that day like for you?
As a matter of fact, I have a collaboration with a Chinese university. We are doing some research. I'm helping them to do research on tennis dams. And the moment I received the email, I was in a meeting with them. And then I look at my computer and start to laugh. And I was so excited. It was a big surprise for me, a very good surprise. I became very happy. Not only me, but my son, my daughters, and my grandson also. They were all very, very excited. And in the evening, we went out to commemorate, to drink a couple of beers. It was a great time. I was in Connecticut with my son.
And I believe you told me pretty quickly after you found out too.
Yes,
chatting with you.
Right. I told everybody.
So that's fascinating, and I'm super happy for you. It's a huge achievement to get in your life, especially on the tail end of your career, to go along with all the other accolades that you have, because you are also a PEng, a professional engineer,
Yes.
which applies to
No, it's a chartered engineer.
yeah, a chartered engineer.
Yes.
And so you kind of have the qualifications to work anywhere. It sounds like.
That's the idea. You know, I have done some. I worked in Britain long ago, and I was thought about becoming a member of the ICE Institution of Civil Engineers, which is the oldest institution in the world. They were founded 1828. Imagine, you know, we hardly knew what was civil engineering by those days. But anyway, I applied and I became. This is a process that took me 2 years. I applied. I became a fellow this year. I went to the award ceremony in London in September, and I received the diploma, fellowship diploma, and I became also a chartered engineer. So that means that I can, work in Europe as well. I have the qualification to do that. So very happy. It
roads and help anybody. That's fantastic. That's so great. Well, this has been just a fascinating discussion about your journey to earn your professional engineering license. I'm just, is there any other tips that you would share with anybody that's going to prepare for this exam that you would share?
Study hard, attend your course, do the exercise, and remember that the unit weight of water is 62.4. This is a terrible number. And also that 1 cubic yard is 27 cubic feet. Oh, this is a odd number, a bloody number for me.
It is very odd. Hey, those are in your handbook, though, so if you forget them, you can go look at the front few pages. So that's fascinating. So one other thing.
Let me share you two things. I have published, when I was an academic, I published one book on critical stage soil mechanics, which is available. I could send you a copy for you to share with your students. And the other book I published in 2004 was a much more engineering book on slopes. This is the result of a long work I have done, not only in Hong Kong, but in Rio as well, because Hong Kong and Rio are very similar in terms of slope stability. We have a narrow piece of land and very tall slopes. Okay, so when the rainfall comes, it's a disaster. Every year we have slope instability, landslips, etc. So I'd like to share these two books with you, and you are very welcome to share the books with anyone.
Please do. And we'll leave links in our show description for others to check out as well. So we'll make sure we do that. Well, Alberto, thank you for jumping on. Thanks for sharing your journey. Thanks for being a student of our course. If you were to recommend, I guess one of the questions I love to ask is, what was your favorite part about the course as you took it? I know you've listed some things we can improve on, but were there some things you really liked about the course?
Well, I think the part on when you talk about more civil engineering, like, for instance, when you discuss the solutions, ground improvement solutions, that was very good. How to select a pile, this was very good. And this is something that every engineer must know, okay? On the other hand, when you do lots of calculations, which like to design a diaphragm wall or sheet pile, this is something we don't use anymore. I haven't used. I learned in school, but I haven't used that for 50 years. Today we do finite element analysis, and so in this case, I hope that NCEES would be in the future concentrate on theoretical questions and how to select the parameters and how to select the solution. This is civil engineering. This is geotechnical engineering. Okay.
Perfect. Well, Alberto, thank you for jumping on and sharing this. I appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see you in the future. We'll maybe bring you on to talk about another subject. You're the expert.
Happy to help. Okay.
Thank you. We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye. Thank you.